Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. You are here in the home of the slightly above average ship review. I am your host KPZ. Today we are in a match in Crash Zone, a domination match, and we're doing a tech tree spotlight of the French Tier 6 tech tree battleship, the Lyon. Alright, so we are down tier in this match. You know, I had some other matches, a bunch of matches actually, where I have like 3 kills, around 100,000 damage or whatever. But none of them were great. And I picked this match to show because I think it can illustrate how the Lyon has great potential which I don't think I have reached yet or fully unlocked yet. In the hands of the right player, I think this is a very, very dangerous battleship. But on the other hand, it also has a lot of weaknesses. First, when we talk about the weaknesses, you have to understand this battleship was designed, I want to say, in 1913, before World War I. So you're dealing with a pre-World War I dreadnought at Tier 6. And with most of the ships you're going to be facing at Tier 6 were designed or retrofitted after the start of World War II. Now, when we reviewed this ship in the port, you'll see it has an AA rating of 77. They never built the Lyon, so I think Wargaming just pumped up the AA as a way to justify putting this ship at Tier 6. Honestly, to be frank, I don't think it should be there. I think maybe they could have given us one less premium, maybe bump the Richelieu down a tier, or had the Cavour be a tech tree ship and put this thing as a premium 5, because I really doubt it had all the AA they claim it did in the design plans. Anyway, we are just going over here to Charlie. As you can see, kind of bow on profile, ran into this island so I can start backing up to shoot. The Lyon has a rather odd turret arrangement. The A turret is in the front of the ship. The B turret is amidships. And the XY turret, the X turret is super firing at the rear, and the Y turret is the very rear turret at the stern of the ship. So kind of the opposite of what modern battleships do for a turret arrangement. Usually they'll have the AB turret in the bow, and the B turret will be super firing, and then XY in the back of the ship if they have 4 turrets. So rather odd arrangement. I think I had HE loaded there, so we set that guy on fire, and that's going to burn for a little bit. Quickly checking my range. Got a Kansas out here, and we set the Flandre on fire. So a lot of Tier 7 battleships, and we're going to hold our own for a good long time in this match, at least relatively speaking, in the Lyon. So the Lyon has something unique. We talked about its 4 turrets. They are 4 quad barrel turrets. So this has the largest broadside in World of Warships Legends. 16 shells, in theory, are being fired every time you do a full broadside. So like I said, I've had some good matches, but no really great, outstanding, knock your socks off matches. I definitely think there's way more potential in this ship. It's not an issue of me not having the commander ranked up. It's more an issue of I haven't played this thing in a long time, and maybe it just doesn't connect with me. Speaking of connect, we connected with that Colorado for a couple of hits to Citadel. So definitely the ability to punch there. If you closely track, you can see we are getting overpens as well. Some of that may have to do with our commander's base trait, which increases AP shell penetration. Here we're shooting at this broadside Gneisenau. I was doing turret by turret for a little bit. Really nice hit there. Again, don't have any problem hitting him, although we are getting our turrets knocked out, and that is something you have to manage with these French battleships, is getting your turrets disabled, because they are not heavily armored at all from the roof. And so if anyone gets a shell with any kind of angle coming down on your turret, like that right there, it will get knocked out. All right, so we are going to fail to finish off the guys now here. I think he is turning in towards us. And again, you can see their overpens, their ricochets, their regular penetrations. Even though I'm shooting up into the superstructure, you know, he gets finished off by another ship. And we're almost at 80,000 damage. So rest assured, the Lyon can crank out damage as long as you can keep it afloat. Unfortunately, that is the hard thing, and I'm so tempted after this game to put in the survivability commander, who I used to run on the Lyon, but at the end of the day, I do not recommend that because you're going to need the range. Because if you're going to be fighting tier 7 ships, a lot of them will have max range or close to max range, especially the cruisers, you know, of which I guess the Weimar is now one of the tier 7 cruisers, so that's great. I haven't decided if they offer the ability to give up my Weimar, if I'm going to do that or not, but I'm not a cruiser player. I bought it because it was super OP. Still haven't made my decision yet on that. All right, back to the Lyon. As you can see here, we're backing up and using that backing to get our turrets on target. We're going to shoot at this Baltimore. Looks like 3 turrets. I had high hopes for the salvo. But at the end of the day, the French guns are not very accurate. I think their shell grouping just isn't that great. And I'm using the accuracy commander. So I definitely don't want to get closer, get within torpedo range. This ship, like many of the other French ships, is not very maneuverable. Of course, you'll get a sea change when you step up to tier 7. And of course, this isn't counting the premium ships like the Dunkirk or Dunkerque and the Strasbourg. Those are all very mobile ships. But this ship, although it's quick, it is not mobile, and so you're not going to have the ability to be ducking and dodging torpedoes at all, in my opinion, in this ship or any ship below it in the tech tree. All right, so we're taking a little more damage here. I hit my damage con, and there you can see I get damage during the damage con, which pretty much wipes out everything the damage con would have given me. And here's where it starts to go south for the Lyon. Even though we have over 100,000 damage, you can see I got 3 ships over to my starboard side. I've got 1 ship kind of off my starboard bow, and I've got 1 ship off my port bow. So 5 on 2. There's a destroyer over here with me, but essentially you're going to see the numbers start to catch up with us right here, even though the number of ships in the game is tied. So this Baltimore kind of creeps out behind this rock, and I'm like, yeah, let me get a full salvo out on that Baltimore. And I thought that was really good aim when I shot it, and even though it looked really good, we just got a bunch of overpens. So overpenning is an issue. So maybe if you run the survivability commander Emile Geprat, that won't be an issue with this ship. But I'm just saying, against tier 7 battleships, you want all the penetration you can get on armor-piercing shells. That is my opinion. So we'll shoot one more time at the Baltimore, but I think right as the shells get there, he gets killed by the destroyer. All right, so we still got 2 to 3 ships off my port bow and the Flandre off to my starboard bow, and I probably should have kept backing up. As you can see, I got just crushed there by the Flandre, trying to get some shots out in this broadside Kansas, and I feel my hit points slipping away. Turrets disabled. It looks like the entire enemy team came over here, and this is a scenario that the Flandre can't stand up to, so we're about to get killed. And there we go. I'm going to clip to the end of the match here. I think that guy must be a fan of the Naked Gun film series. All right, here we are on the victory screen. We did end up with 136,232 total damage, 2 hits to Citadel. We got 10 green cap defended flags, just over 275,000 silver, 5967 ship XP and commander XP here in the Lyon. So you've got a powerful punch, you've got the biggest broadside in terms of number of guns in the game, but at the end of the day, it's a pre-World War I dreadnought battleship. Even though Ouija piled a bunch of AA on there, you have the speed and the maneuverability of a dreadnought, and you have the armor limitations of a dreadnought. And so I think it's a ship that it's possible to do better. And speaking of doing better, Mr. Amagi, 3759 with a Kraken. Great game. We finished second with about 2,500 base XP. All right, here's a look at the mods. We went with Aiming System Mod 1. Like I talked about in the video, I only use this armament durability mod on a French battleship with 3 or less turrets. So because this ship has 4 turrets, I use the aiming system to help the dispersion. Damage Con Mod 2, that's pretty standard. And of course, Target Acquisition System Mod 1 in our third mod slot. The Lyon is fully upgraded. Consumables, 3 charges of the repair party, 3 charges of the enhanced secondary targeting. We didn't use any booster flags. Got this temporary Type 2 camo. The standard camo may have been available once in the store for gold and I didn't buy it. And we got that 2-year strong flag. 50,730 hit points and a paltry 16% torpedo damage reduction. Got those 4 quad turrets, 17.9 kilometer firing range, reload every 27 seconds, turn in 36 seconds. HE shells do 4,700 damage. So that's a 26% fire chance. I could barely read it. And HE shells do over 10,000, probably 10,450 if I'm remembering correctly. 2 sets of secondaries. They have all the same stats. 5.2 kilometer firing range, 5-second reload, 1,900 HE shell damage, 9% fire chance. So is it possible to run a secondary build in this ship? Yes. Would I recommend it? No, but maybe that'd be another reason for you to run that survivability commander. Here's your AA. I do not believe this is actually real life, but you have a lot of AA. You can defend yourself from the air. Maneuverability, 25.5 knots, 700 meter turning circle, 14.1 second rudder shift. And concealment, 14.7 on the surface, 11.7 from the air, 12.2 when firing in smoke. Here's a look at the armor viewer. You know, it looks very similar to a lot of those Italian ships. Do have a below water citadel, although it is not heavily armored at all on the sides. Put the bow back on. So you have a 25 millimeter bow, and then you have an armor plate. So maybe you could do a little bit of bow tanking. It ranges from 140 to 180 millimeters. This torpedo belt looks very large and impressive, but remember it has a minuscule damage reduction. So maybe that's a buff at a future date, who knows. Turrets and barbettes, not especially heavily armored, especially at this level, in my opinion. You know, very vulnerable to getting these things knocked out. So if you run that mod, that's up to you. Here's the casemate armor. That looks nice in theory, but you're going to get punched through by those bigger guns at tier 7. So that's the Lyon's armor viewer. All right, here's a look at our commander, Robert Jojard, and the build we used for this ship. We got Cunningham and Geprat. The base trait increases the AP shell penetration. Maybe that's why we kept having a bunch of overpens. Flammable cannoneer, gyrating drill bits, megalomania, really recommend that. Reaching out XXL, and will to rebuild. Anyway, that's the Lyon. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. I'll see you on the next video.